Someone's child painted a rock. Yellow ground, red letters, the grammar of a hand that hasn't yet been taught to be careful. Peace, love, joy. They left it on a cross section of a felled tree, concentric rings, maybe 80 years of weather radiating out from a center that no longer holds a trunk. This is where the walk begins, and it's already the whole thing. The first witness is a black oak, Quercus velutina, born around the year 1800, 19 feet around, registered with the Massachusetts State Forestry Service. The sign at the base is matter of fact. It tells you the tree was spared the axe. That's the phrase, because it stood at the edge of a pasture and threw shade for livestock. Useful, so it lived. Every other black oak in these woods is a child. Think about what that means. A tree survives 2 centuries of New England, the woodlot economy, the ice storms, the chestnut blight passing through the canopy like a rumor, because it was useful to the cows. Not because anyone loved it. The love comes later, retroactively, when the Lions Club bolts a sign to a post and calls it magnificent. Succession is the only honest theology. The oak didn't ask to be a patriarch. It just didn't get cut. And time did the rest. The second witness is a brook. It runs through a stone's weir, somebody's great-great-grandfather stacked. The skunk cabbage is up, those blunt green spears that thermogenetically melt their own way through late snow. The plant is literally warm. It generates heat. It is, in the most literal sense, alive against the winter. The stones in the stream bed weren't placed by glaciers. Look at the pattern. They're stacked. Someone with hands moved them. Probably to slow the water. Probably to feed something downstream that's no longer there. The function is gone. The structure remains. The skunk cabbage doesn't care. It grows around the stones the way time grows around all of us. This is the section where you notice the recursion. The oak was spared because it was useful. The stones were placed because they were useful. The use is gone in both cases. The form continues. The form is the gift the use leaves behind. The third witness is a paper birch, splintered, standing. The top is gone. Wind, probably, or ice, and what remains is a vertical wreckage. With 2 dark polypore brackets growing out of its side like ears. There's a perfect round hole near the base where the heartwood rotted out. A house now, for whatever needs a house. Foresters call this a snag, and they leave them on a purpose. A dead standing tree is not a failure of forestry. It is the forestry's most generous output. Cavity nesters, fungi, beetles, and woodpeckers that eat the beetles. The owls that eat the woodpeckers. The tree feeds more lives in death than it did in life. The polypores are the visible part of the mycelial economy that is currently, quietly, returning birch to soil. So the next birch can stand where this one did. This is the peace on the painted stone. Not the absence of conflict, the absence of decay as architecture. The birch is at peace because it has stopped resisting. The fungi are at peace because they have arrived. The whole is at peace because something will move in. The fourth witness is two yellow suns in clover, and one of them has a honeybee on it, striped abdomen, working the disc florets methodically, because that's what a honeybee does in late April when nothing else is reliably blooming yet. The dandelion is the most hated plant in suburban America. People poison their lawns to kill it. Garden centers pre-emergent specifically to prevent it. And in the first weeks of spring, before the orchards bloom, before the clover, before almost anything else, the dandelion is what keeps the hive alive. The weed is the bridge. The plant we are taught to despise is the plant that feeds the pollinator, that pollinates the food. The whole caloric structure of suburban summer is built on a flower we spend money to eradicate. This is the joy on the stone. The bee doesn't know it's doing economics. It's doing joy. The dandelion doesn't know it's defying a chemical industry. It's doing joy. Joy is the technical term for function indifferent to fashion. The fifth witness is the preacher. Striped hood, spadix standing inside the space like a green minister at a small green pulpit. 3 leaves arrayed like a hand raised in benediction over leaf litter that has not yet finished decomposing. Arisema triphyllum. Jack in the pulpit. Jack in the pulpit is sex fluid. Young plants and stress plants flower as male, robust, well-fed. Plants flower as female. The same individual can switch year to year, depending on how much energy it has stored in corm last season. The preacher in the pulpit is not delivering a sermon about fixed natures. The preacher is the sermon. What you can become depends on what you have stored. The plant is also poisonous. Calcium oxalate crystals, needles in the tissue, a mouthful of fire to anything that tries to eat it raw. Indigenous people knew how to bleach the corm and eat it. The knowledge required generations to develop and seconds to lose. The plant has been preaching the same sermon for 10,000 years. Most workers don't stop. This is the love on the stone. Not romantic love, the other kind. The kind that requires you to know what you're handling. The kind that punishes carelessness. The kind that rewards patience with food. Love is the technical term for sustained attention to a thing that hurt you and still chooses to feed you. We end where we started. The stone is still there. Peace, love, joy. In a child's red, on a child's yellow. The oak gave us succession. The stream gave us form outliving function. The snag gave us peace, decay as architecture. The dandelion gave us joy, function indifferent to fashion. The jack in the pulpit gave us love, sustained attention to what can hurt and still feeds. The child who painted the stone did not know any of this. The child knew 3 words and 3 colors and a stump to put them on. The walk only confirms what the stone already said. The forest is recursive that way. So is the song. You walk through Grafton Land Trust. The land trust is named correctly. The trust is the thing being held. The land is what is holding it.